They called her a monster, yeah, right there in the open, like she was less than human, like she couldn't hear every cruel word echoing off the walls of Mel's diner. Day after day, Sarah Miller kept her head down and her sleeves long, hiding the scars on her hands and arms the best she could, pouring coffee for folks who tossed their coins on the floor and their judgments in her face. For 3 years, she wore those whispers like an extra layer of clothing, never letting it slip, never letting them see what was really beneath the fabric. But sometimes, life has a funny way of blowing up everything you've built just to see what's underneath. This morning, a little after 7, the place was already warm enough to sweat through your shirt, and Michael Kelly sat hunched in the far corner, same seat he'd claimed since sunrise, nursing what had to be his third or fourth cup of bitter black coffee. 18 years, that's how long he'd been chasing a ghost, flipping through photographs so worn the faces were fading, chasing old leads at VA hospitals, veterans reunions, anywhere someone might remember what happened in Iraq that summer of 2006. There's this picture he keeps guys lined up grinning like fools in camo, young, strong, before everything went sideways. He glanced over at Sarah, studying the way she moved, quick and efficient, never letting her left side face the customers, never showing so much as a wrist. He noticed things military, things the scan of the room, every few minutes, the posture, the slight favoring of one foot, and he kept thinking, it has to be her. After all these years, it just has to be. But memory is a tricky thing, especially when the last time you saw someone they were bleeding and screaming through smoke and flames. He remembered her hands steady as bedrock pulling him out of a burning Humvee while ammo cooked off and the world dissolved into chaos. He remembered her going back in, again and again, for the others, even as another explosion ripped the night open. He remembered thinking he'd never see her again. Just then, the door slammed open. Chad Morrison swaggered in with his construction crew, the kind of man who'd made high school his whole personality and never figured out that the world moved on. He strolled in, big and loud, eyes searching for a target, flanked by his usual pack of hyenas. As soon as he locked eyes on Sarah, his smirk sharpened. Here it comes, Michael thought, the daily ritual. Chad started in, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Hey waitress, why you all bundled up? Hiding meth scars, or just ashamed of being ugly?" The laughter from his crew was ugly too. But the worst part, the part that always stings the most, was how the rest of the diner suddenly became fascinated with their coffee, their newspapers, anything but standing up. Sarah, God bless her, just stood there, perfectly neutral, voice flat, taking their order like nothing happened. She'd learned to survive by not letting them see her flinch. Michael watched every tiny movement, saw her shoulders stiffen, the hand that stayed hidden, the way the room seemed to split into sunlight and shadow. It's weird how places can hold their breath, waiting to see if someone will finally say enough. But today, Chad was in rare form, pushing and prodding, hurling every accusation he could burn from a kitchen fire, self-harm, even suggesting she'd been in a meth lab explosion. The poison in his words was old, but today, something in Sarah was stretched too thin. When Chad slammed $2 to the floor for some scar cream, sweetheart, it was as if the whole diner froze. Michael saw it then, the shift in her face, just a flicker, but enough. She bent to pick up the bills, moving like every step was on broken glass. And when she stood, Chad's hand shot out, shoving her hard enough to send her sideways, her sleeve sliding up, just for a second, exposing a tattoo that made Michael's breath catch. 3rd Infantry Division, Ramadi, 2006. You could feel the mood shift, like the barometer dropping before a tornado. A college kid in the back whispered, "Holla, that's a military tattoo." For a second, even Chad was caught off guard. But Michael was up on his feet now, crossing the floor, not even realizing he'd left his coffee behind. He stared at Sarah's arm, at the scars and the ink, at the face he'd been searching for through all those years of doubt. The memories clicked into place. Ramadi, summer '06, Humvee fire. "Are you Sergeant Miller?" The room held its breath. Sarah stared at him like she was seeing a ghost. "They told me you were dead. They said you didn't make it," she whispered, voice cracking, years of guilt rushing out all at once. Michael shook his head, emotion making his words thick. I'm alive because of you. You ran into hell and dragged me out when everyone else ran the other way. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Even Chad's goons looked uneasy. The whole place seemed to sag under the weight of everything unspoken sacrifice, loss, the cost of surviving when others don't. Michael reached into his jacket, pulling out that old photograph, hands shaking, showing it to Sarah. She traced the faces Rodriguez, Thompson tears finally sliding down her face, apologizing for not saving everyone, for not being enough. Michael hugged her then, the kind of hug that says more than words ever could, and the diner exploded in applause, spontaneous and raw. Even the old Vietnam vet at table 3 rising to his feet, clapping with tears in his eyes. But redemption doesn't come easy, and cruelty has a way of demanding the last word. Chad, sensing he'd lost control, tried doubling down, sputtering about stolen valor and fake tattoos, calling her a fraud and a liar. This time, Michael was ready, his anger sharpened into something cold and precise. He told the story every brutal detail about that night. The IEDs, the burning vehicle, Sarah's bare hands, and her refusal to leave anyone behind. 17 lives, he said, voice rising. 17 soldiers are alive because of her. Bronze Star for Valor. Purple Heart. Combat Médic Badge. And what did she get? She got you, Chad, throwing money at her feet like she's trash. He looked around at the crowd, eyes glinting. You want to know a real hero? Look at her. You want to know a coward? Look in the mirror. Phones were out now, live streaming, capturing every word. By the time Chad's boss called shouting through the phone, "You're fired, don't ever come back," the crowd was cheering, blocking the door, making sure Chad got every ounce of what was coming to him. Even Mel's manager, a quiet Marine vet, came out and announced Sarah was promoted on the spot, 30% raise. No more hiding those scars. Anyone who's got a problem with that has a problem with me, he said, and the applause rolled on, echoing off the chrome and linoleum. 6 months later, Mel's diner had changed. Photos of Sarah in uniform hung behind the register, joined by pictures of other local vets. She stood tall in short sleeves, no longer ashamed, the whole place different, more respectful, maybe even a little kinder. Then, one morning, Chad walked in. No swagger this time, he looked smaller, hands rough and honest from work, his head bowed. He laid an envelope on the counter, $5,000 raise for the Veteran Center, every penny earned with sweat and apologies. I'm sorry, he said, voice trembling. I lost everything, but I needed to try to make things right. Sarah studied him, saw the change, saw the weight he carried. Everyone deserves a second chance, she said quietly. That's what service taught me. It wasn't forgiveness, not really, but it was hope. As Chad turned to leave, Sarah called out, "The Veteran Center always needs help. Keep showing up." He nodded, something like relief in his eyes, and walked out into the morning sun. But what about you? Should Sarah forgive him fully? Can someone like Chad really change? Or are some wounds just too deep to heal? Let me know what you think about second chances, about justice, about what it means to be human. This isn't just Sarah's story, it's ours, too.